I spotted a mistake. I did.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, and everyone else.
Today, we're going to watch an adventure movie just released, Fountain of Youth. I watched the trailer and it looked like a very well designed, very nicely made movie. It kind of looked like this type of movie that you want to watch when you just don't want to deal with something deep and profound, but just want to have a little bit of relaxing, fun time, smile, whatever. So
That's what we're set to do.
Yeah, it's an Apple TV production, 2025. Let's watch it. There's one thing that this movie reminded me of.
Really?
Yes.
What's that?
Back when I was a little boy, in the communist era, my mother did something crazy.
Okay.
She spent a fortune to buy a videotape player.
Okay.
Which was something unheard of. Well, of course, you couldn't just walk in a store and buy a videotape player.
Yes,
There was nothing like that back in the communist time. But this guy was a sailor.
Okay.
He was from the town that we were from, and he came back home after a long voyage with this thing, and he wanted to sell it. And he had some cassettes with movies.
Oh.
And my mother decided to
Because that was my next question. If you don't have those, where do you get the cassettes to play?
Yes, he had, I don't know, 30, whatever.
Ooh.
And my mother decided to buy it for me.
Okay, how old were you?
Okay, I was about 9,
Okay.
8, 9, somewhere there, 10,
Okay.
maybe. And that's where I first watched Bruce Lee and Paul McCartney and ZZ Top. They were this. The thing that she didn't know was that the player and the cassettes were a Betamax system, not the VHS, which was the one which was popular.
I didn't know VHS.
Yeah, Betamax were the cassettes were smaller, and it was used mainly in the TV production.
Oh, I see.
So anyway, we were kind of stuck with it, so I had to watch those cassettes. I guess I watched them for hundreds of times. Anyway, one of the movies that I had there was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Okay.
With Harrison Ford.
Never seen that one.
Yes. So this movie, and those of you who watched Indiana Jones, probably most of you did, you know what I'm talking about. This movie reminded me of Indiana Jones, and for a few moments I was again that little boy watching the adventure movie. Look, you have to watch Indiana Jones. It's a classic.
I'm sure I do.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's what. So
Okay.
I'm in this mood right now.
Nice. Well, what did it remind me of? There were a couple little.
Look, did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, as we said at the beginning, it looks like something just to sit down and have fun with. It totally was something just to sit down and have fun with. Nothing deep, nothing profound. I could say the storyline is incredibly predictable, but it's nicely told.
Yes.
It's nicely told. There were moments that reminded me, years ago, I used to tutor a family, and one day I walked in a bit early, and I would go to their home, and the kids were all sitting on the sofa watching some movie. I'm sure it must be a well-known kids movie. I just never watched those things growing up, so I have no clue what it is. But I walked in as this little child is standing at the in front of a big mountain or something, and says something like "Open Sesame,"
Okay.
and the stone moves and everything opens up, and it's
Yeah.
it kind of
It
reminded
reminds
me
you.
of
Okay.
something like that. So-
Yeah. Well, as you said, the whole story is very predictable. Nicely made. Nicely made. The characters, again, the different the different participants in the action, conflicting and all the action and the cinematography, and nicely done. Come on, it's a nice movie.
Cinematography was nice, and I guess that's one of the things that kept it enjoyable, because these kinds of stories, they're so predictable. You can say, "Oh, I've watched these over and over because I've seen one, you've seen them all." But the cinematography and
the dialogues,
the dialogues were nice, and I liked the context, the setting of it being around classic works of art.
Yes,
which is kind of cool. And this idea of, well, it's not a new idea of hidden messages, hidden codes.
Of course.
Reminded me actually of what's the name of that book? I read it some years ago about Elizabeth. Oh, I can't even say her last name right now. My mind is in movie land. I can't recall these things, and my mind is somewhere else.
It's fine.
But she was a code breaker, and one of the founders of the United States CIA, was it? Anyway.
Okay.
And she got her she went to school and studied literature. And she got this job at some wealthy man's compound where he was fascinated and obsessed with the idea of finding hidden messages in Shakespeare's writings. And so as a literature specialist, he hired her to come pore over Shakespeare's works and look for codes and stuff and whatever. Anyway, that's how she ended up being tapped, because the United States government sent somebody there to find somebody who could start a code breaking project for the government. And that's how she ended up becoming who she was. I cannot remember the name. Was it? Anyway.
We'll look it up. I'll put it down.
Put it here.
I'll put it down.
Because if you haven't read her story, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Okay.
And if you haven't read it, you've got to read it too.
Yes.
But so it kind of has that sort of linked to classical art, traditions, literature, and this idea of this fascination that humanity has with these works of art. We're looking for even more in there somewhere, and so it's kind of fun that way too.
I like Luke's outfit.
Yeah, nice.
Love it. Beautiful. I love it. And but talking about hidden mysteries, and I spotted a mistake. I did. So it's the scene when Luke meets the lady, what was her name? Whatever, that is working for the Vatican, and she's
it's not Esme, it's
whatever. Okay, so they meet for the first time in the train, and there's the whole train scene when they fight over the leather.
It's a tube. It's a tube that he's using to carry a piece of artwork.
The painting. And so as they are in the first part of the battle there, whatever fight, she is using a kitchen knife. And she's cutting the strap.
Yes.
So the tube had a strap and a handle. And you can see she's cutting the strap. And then
then it's holding there. He's holding it with.
A few seconds later, he is holding one end and she's holding the other end.
And they're tug of war.
And yeah, and I guess she's throwing that that kitchen knife. It's a big, thick kitchen knife. Boom, and she moves his head, and the kitchen knife just misses him. So the strap is gone. I mean, it's sectioned, it's cut. But then look when he goes out of the train, out of the cart, out of the cart, he had it back on it. Ah, that's a big mistake.
Oh no, so maybe he tied it together, but he didn't have time to tie it back
No,
together.
no. You look, it's second by second. It's step by step.
Yes.
It's step by step. Look, I cracked the code. I got them. They made a mistake, man. Oh, this is an unforgettable mistake for a movie of that caliber. You pour so much. I don't know how much money they spend. Come on, and you're you know, sometimes you see these footages on YouTube with mistakes in movies, like a movie back in the Roman Empire time, you know, and during a footage you see an airplane on the sky.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah,
What are you gonna do, man? There's so many airplanes in the sky.
Why? What? No. When you shoot a movie, no. But come on. Anyway, that was a mistake. Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong. But that's what I saw there. Yeah. Nonetheless, nice movie. Nice movie.
It was a fun movie. Yeah.
Fine movie.
One that would be fun to, you know, just get together
Watch
for
with
a
Liesl.
family movie
Yeah.
night, you know, with kids. I can totally imagine actually some 7, 8, 9-year-old kids
Yeah. Oh,
just having a
boy.
blast watching
Yes,
it.
yes.
And then of course they would be role playing and making up games about it for the next week afterwards.
Yes. Okay. Did you enjoy the movie? Let us know, and we'll meet you next time.